What's up, man? Good morning and welcome to a live Sunday episode of the Ultimate 216 Show. You know the vibes, man. If you woke up, you already won. Take this 24 hours to do something that your future self thank you for it. Earl of Pearl, your boy Cecil Shorts is in the building. We got a stacked show for you all today, man. The Cavaliers lost a third straight game. Brother, they are 3-5 in their last 8. Kevin Stefanski might have hinted at a new offense, and today we pay homage and respect to the late great Kobe Bryant. How you feeling this morning, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Happy to be on here with you. Blessed, grateful, ready to get after it. But I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. Great to be here with you as well. Hey, man, if y'all live, we got 39 live viewers, man. Tell people we live. We're going to be here for about 45 minutes to an hour. Hit the like button. Tell somebody to subscribe. Drop in the chat where you watching from. Drop your favorite Kobe Bryant memory, either as a child. Some people might have met him in person. Who knows, man? But we want to know where you watching from, and we want to know what's your favorite Mamba memory as we get to the end of the show and we honor Kobe Bryant. It's only right that we start here. The Cavaliers last night, man. Let me get my notes up, man. We lost our third straight game. What was it? 3 in the last 5, 135 to 131. It was a game that not often do you see your backcourt combine for 72 points, 16 assists, and you lose. We did get Evan Mobley back last night, but another tough loss. The Cavs are finally hitting a stretch of adversity. Talked to Kenny Atkinson last night, talked to Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell, and they all alluded to, this can be a good thing for this team if they handle it right, and if they respond to it correctly. So, Donovan Mitchell said it's not an overreaction, but it's a reaction. When you have so much success, it's really hard to have reality checks until it's time to have a reality check. So here we are. Here's the situation. And what was your thoughts on last night's game?
Last night, is going to be honest, Earl, I thought we got punked. Like, I thought they were more physical. I thought their brand of basketball was they came to play all game, and we kind of came in the fourth quarter, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like we didn't try to turn the intensity up on the defensive side of the ball until the fourth quarter, and that's just not a recipe for success. And honestly, it was the same way 2 nights ago when the Cavs played Houston for the first time. They turned it on in the fourth quarter. I think it was a 19-0 run by the Cavs in the fourth quarter. They just couldn't pull it out at the end. You have to get out of that habit. And when you see that happen multiple times, and I heard Kenny Atkinson mention this, to me, it's a fatigue thing, right? I'm not panicking. I'm not in the mode where, oh my gosh, what are the Cavs going to do? They'll be fine. But they are thinking, I think they are hitting that fatigue. It's almost around Valentine's Day, All-Star break, people start peeking to that. Hey, when can I get this rest? Their legs start getting heavy. You were just in Houston, then you came back home. It's just a lot that goes into it. So I do think the fatigue factor hits in. But when you look at the Pacers, the Hawks, and the Rockets, one thing they did consistently to beat the Cavs, they were physical. They were physical with our bigs. They were physical when you bring the smaller lineup in. They figured out a way on pick and roll how to really manipulate the smaller guys. And it was a struggle last night when Mobley, who I don't think is all the way healthy, I think he's still kind of, working through his whatever he has going on. Going 7 for 8 last night, 7 points, 8 rebounds. That's tough. And especially when Şengün is going to work. When Şengün has the night he has, and when he's playing at a high level, and people are, I don't know if everybody around the league or around the nation is hip to Şengün. I live in Houston, so I hear about him a lot, I watch him a lot. That boy can play. That boy's the real deal. Like he got footwork, he can shoot, he can go low, he can do it all. Like he's a special guy. But what bothered me most was Steven Adams last night. When he gets 14 points, come on, y'all. Like, come on, when he's getting off and doing his thing. And there was moments where I know we fouled him intentionally, whatever the case.
He shot 6 for 9 from the free throw line. Like they put the hack of Steven Adams into play, and it backfired, right? He came into this game shooting 37% from the free throw line. And Tristan Thompson, right? He had like 4 fouls in 5 minutes. That was his assignment, but it backfired. It backfired though, right? Because he was hitting his free throws. And the ironic part about it, and I me and my guys talked about it. The Cavs was what? Let me look at this. Make sure. Yeah, they was like +3 with Tristan Thompson in the lineup.
That's crazy.
So whatever strategy that he employed to kind of get that off, it just didn't work. Adams decided to hit his free throw. Man, you mentioned Sagoon and the fact that when teams get physical with the Cleveland Cavaliers, it can be tough for the bunch. I think a lot of us was looking to see how Jared Allen would respond, based on what happened the last game. You take a look at his stat line. He had 8 points, shot the ball 5 times, 4 or 5, 5 rebounds and 2 assists. I thought Jared never really got an opportunity to get into rhythm. In that first quarter, he got 2 quick fouls within like 40 seconds. You know what I mean? And so he stayed in a game, which I thought was risky by Kenny Atkinson, but it's tough. We need a big. We need a backup big, and we'll get to that point. But he stayed in the game, but you can just see he was timid, right? He couldn't be aggressive even if he wanted to. He was already in foul trouble. And it just seemed like he couldn't get his legs for real. Kenny talked about him after the game and said it was a tough night for Jared. And, lately it does look like when he goes up against these guys who want to be physical, it's always a tough night for Jared. But, Jared might be experiencing some fatigue as well. You keep in mind, he's played every single game this season.
Yes, he has.
And so, and when you look at that point, I don't know, maybe a scheduled rest day for Jared Allen should be in the works. You brought it back to fatigue. This team played hard every single night, right? And you see the effort, max effort every single night. They are human. Eventually, it will catch up with you. Donovan Mitchell said something yesterday in this post game, and if you all missed any of the post game interviews, they are on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page. Posted them up there last night. Go back and check them out. But Donovan Mitchell said, it's an adjustment. If you think for the better part of the season, he was playing about 30 minutes a game. And now he's trying to get his body adjusted, ramped up to playing about 35 minutes a game. And so as the Cavs go on this journey, they have hit a patch of adversity. But you look at the last 3 losses on this 3-game losing streak, it's by a combined 8 points. Mm-hmm. And so technically the Cavs could have won either one of those games. I don't think it's a reason to panic. It never feels good when you win. It sucks when you lose. The Cavs question has been called into question a lot lately. I don't know. I just know like this team it got championship goals. And in order to be a championship team, you have to face adversity and you have to overcome it. Donovan Mitchell said it himself. Elite teams don't lose 2 in a row, 3 in a row, right? And so here we are. Here's the situation. And now we got to figure out a way to kind of like get back on track against the Detroit Pistons, who comes in here and they hot right now. So this will be the game Monday, Cavs versus Pistons, NBA TV, 7:00. But I thought Donovan Mitchell played well. He had some good looks. Garland as well. Garland has been the most consistent. Happy birthday to Darius Garland, by the way. Today's his 25th birthday. And happy birthday to Isaac Okoro as well. So today is both of their birthday. Happy birthday to those dudes. But, DG has been really, really consistent. I thought Niang provided some great minutes off the bench. Let me see where Niang's stats is. I thought he was pretty good last night. He ended up with 21 points in what he played. 29 minutes of play, shot the ball 6 or 7 from 3-point range. So, to me, there's no need to hit the panic button. Let's go through and see what some of these comments. Doug said he is watching from Cleveland. Shout out to you. Gunner says they are giving up way too many points. The other night they gave up 39 in the first. Someone should tell them you can play defense in the NBA. Yo, Gunner, listen. No, Kenny Atkinson alluded to that a couple times, right? He's kind of pissed off at the defensive effort that he's seen from his team. And he said, this whole giving up 130 plus is becoming a consistent thing. And they can't have that, right? You think about that game, the last game they played. Who did they play before they just played? Philadelphia. Philadelphia, right? Ty Jerome hit a 3-point shot. The Cavs was up 116-110. It's like 6:17 left to go in the game, right? And the Pacers go on a 13-0 run. Now stop right there. Anybody watching, anybody in the chat, that had to be the worst lapse of Cavs defense that I think we had seen all year long, right? A 13-0 run. And it just seems like, the Cavs have been putting themselves lately in situations to where yeah, they can get back and they can recover, but by the time they get back, they done drained all their energy. Man, the Cavs put together 2 15-0 runs last night to get back into that basketball game. And so when you think about stuff like that, yeah, the defense it definitely needs to be there. Wahoo fan says losing is never good. Cavs need another big guy inside. Our bigs are running out of gas. And Dusky Ohio here. Shout out to Sandusky.
I tell you what, Earl. I think going back to your point you made about Kenny Atkinson, his time that he spent in Golden State, the time he spent with Steve Kerr, I'm hoping that time will help him. And we really need to watch Kenny and how he's going to attack or handle the minutes, the second half of the season. The time, the intentional time that he has guys off, because the goal is to win a championship in June. Right, I can care less about any NBA record. I can care less about anything else. Of course, you want to win your division, be the highest seed you could be, number one seed. But once that's locked up, I think you really have to, and even before that, you really have to watch the minutes, the health, and what you do as far as getting your team prepared for those grueling playoffs, because it's going to be grueling. You got to win 4 out of 7. That's just what it is. You got to win 4 each and every round. So, with that being said, how do you watch the minutes moving forward? How do you take care of your guys? How do you keep those guys healthy? Also, when it comes to the rebounding, I feel like last night, and I love Amin Thompson, but he had 14 rebounds last night.
That boy had a triple-double.
What, 10 assists and 20-plus points, whatever it was, like 23, 14. That's crazy to me. But it was times where we were just standing there and he's hustling in. Where it's times where we're just standing there and somebody else is coming in and getting the board. Where that's just, again, going back to fatigue. Simply boxing out. Everybody knows what to do. We just got to actually do it. But let me ask you this. I'm going to put you on the spot here because you mentioned this before. And I've been, as the trade deadline is creeping up, I've been on the side of keep these guys together. Like, let them mesh, let them continue to go. And I'm not in panic mode at all. But you can see some of the flaws. When this name has been tossed around, and I know you like him, what's your thoughts on bringing Cam Johnson in, and what do you think you have to give up to bring him in? Is it going to be too much? And how will he help?
I think, well, first of all, I think he would be a tremendous help. I think he would be a tremendous fit to what the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing right now. He's a long wing that can guard, that can shoot. He's athletic a little bit. You know, I just think he'll fit right in. Now, as far as how we can acquire Cam Johnson, the cost, the Cavs can't do it by themselves. Right. I think you're going to need a third team to kind of come into play, because I think the latest reports have, you know, them asking for multiple firsts, and the Cavs can't trade a first round pick into 2031. Now we got a bunch of second round picks, and then you have to make the money match. And so when you talk about making a money match, you know, guys like LeVert, Okoro, and Niang are going to always be a part of the conversation. And that's just with me talking to my guy Mikey McNuggets all the time. Right. You got to make the money match, you know what I mean? LeVert, I think expiring contract, stuff like that. So, but the thing is with that, do I really want to lose Karis LeVert? Like, do I really want to lose Niang, man? Because Niang, the way his personality is set up, right? You know, you talk about this team not being tough. Well, Niang is a dude who, man, he ain't taking no mess, right? Tristan Thompson, he ain't taking no mess. Max Strus, he built the same way. These is how these dudes' personality is. And so when you got cats like that on your roster, yeah, you need upgrades in other areas, man. But it's really hard for me to say, like, okay, yeah, these guys need to move. But I mean, these is the breaks, and this is the league. I think Isaac Okoro name circulates a lot when it comes to a guy that can be on the move. But you know, when I'm looking at what I'm looking at now, the backup big might just be a bigger priority than bringing in a wing player, right? Because Evan Mobley just returned from the calf injury, and you know those things you got to be very careful with, because a calf can turn into other things, right? We seen that happen with Donovan Mitchell down the stretch last year, to where he ended up missing the last couple of games against Boston due to a calf turning into other things. And so with that being the case, yeah, Evan came back yesterday, but you want to monitor that. And you can't really depend on Tristan Thompson giving you quality minutes at 20 minutes a game, right? Like, that's just unrealistic at this stage of his career. Jared Allen, we just talked about it, right? Fatigue is an issue. it will become an issue. And then there are certain teams and certain bigs that just aren't good matchups for him. And so the Cavs need to figure out a big that they can add to this roster that can be quality and probably, bring some reinforcement. I know a name that you all will hear this week on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is Jonas Valanciunas from the Washington Wizards. And so, if that was to happen, I think you can make the money match right away with Isaac Okoro. And so, you could just do that straight up, right? But who knows if they would say that's just a hypothetical that I'm throwing out there.
Right.
But if you was to get a guy like that, here and add him to this team, I think it would pay huge dividends down the stretch. So no need to hit the panic button. I do want to take a couple. Let's see here. Tristan Thompson changed the momentum once he checked in. Oh, yeah. He also said Cavs should have won all 3 games, clean up the mistakes, and executing the clutch. Yeah. And that's fact, man. Like, I just look at it like, okay, like those free throws, right? Like everybody is missing clutch ass free throws at clutch ass times, and that's ridiculous. So he said the Cavs lost some discipline on both offense and defense. Need more help out on defense and also on offense. Cavs should have beat these teams. Yeah, they should have. So shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tough game to lose. The arena was rocking last night, right? Like,
it was crazy last night.
Yeah, it was crazy last night. People was into it. I thought they was gonna come back and get the dub. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was feeling like that for a minute, but when you miss clutch free throws down the stretch, man, Donovan took that pull-up 3 with like 31 seconds left that could have tied the game, and he missed it. And when he missed it, I was like, that was tough. So as we move on, man, we get ready to talk about. So you got your wish. Kevin Stefanski, he's taking back the play calling, but he dropped a little nugget yesterday. We'll talk about that. Don't forget, man, to subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Make sure you check our flagship show Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you are a paid member, check out our overtime segments where we have a lot of fun, man. We talk a lot of stuff, give you some of our, top this, top that, whatever the case may be. And don't forget, man, like, subscribe, check out all the spinoff shows as well, including the Ultimate 216 show. So yesterday, at the other job hosting on the radio, and I'm looking through my phone, and Andrew Siciliano was on, I think his podcast is called The Bark Tank with Kevin Stefanski. And they talked about Kevin taking back play calling duties. And they talked about, basically Kevin pulling the old offense off the shelf and presenting it to this new team that we will have in 2025. So I just want to let people know, man, as we was getting the show together, I tried to find the best quality video that I could. So the quality is not the best, but for content purposes, I'm going to play it. It's like 2 minutes long. Pay attention to this conversation between Andrew Siciliano and our head coach, Kevin Stefanski, about the play calling duties and what the Cleveland Browns offense will look like. And then me and Cecil will react to it. Check this out. Here we go.
You're taking the play calling back. Explain to me 2 things. Number 1, why? And number 2, why you felt the need to come out today and just end the suspense and say, guys, I'm doing this.
Just so you'd stop asking me the questions, Andrew, is really what it was. No, listen, and I say this and I mean this sincerely. There are things that are really, really important to playing good offense, and a lot of them have nothing to do with play calling. We have a lot of work to do, Tommy, myself, this offensive staff, in putting back an offense that we feel really good about, and that's going to be sound, and that's going to play to the strengths of our players. There's a lot to do. The play calling piece comes whenever our first game is in September, but I just felt like it's the right thing for us right now. I told the press today, and I mean this, I reserve the right to change my mind. We're still in January, but I feel like that's the right thing for the team right now.
Kevin, the natural assumption is because you're calling plays again, that this is going to be a return to the offense that we saw the first 4 years, the offense that went to the playoffs twice. And it's not just Tommy, and it's not just you calling plays. It's Mike Bloomgren, for example, your new offensive line coach. And look, go back to Stanford. I think they ran power 18 times in a row. This speaks to the old offense. Are we wrong by assuming that and connecting those dots?
Listen, I understand the question, and I understand when you say all that. we never want to just go backwards. We want to go forward. So this is not where you just plop a playbook down on the desk and say, hey, dust this off. That's not what we're about. We want to be forward thinking in everything we do. Obviously, add Mike Bloomgren with Tommy's thoughts. There are certain things that we believe in as coaches, but we also know this game's changing. There are so many things that other teams around the league are doing that we feel like fits us, and some of it we haven't done here in the past, and that's okay. That's part of evolution. That's part of adapting in this football game, and I think there's so much when you look around the league. There's so much that changes year to year, certainly 5 years to 5 years. I've told you this before. If you put tape on from 5 years ago, there are going to be things that stand out to you and say, wow, things were different. If you put tape on 10 years ago, there's going to be even more things. So the game's evolving. How they officiate the game is evolving. The players that are coming into this league are evolving. The play style has evolved. And it's not just at the quarterback position. It's in a bunch of different areas. So for us, we certainly want to have that same mindset as we put our offense together. This is the Cleveland Browns offense for the year 2025. And here are the things that we're doing because it fits our players. That's going to be what's most important.
I don't think I ever heard Kevin Stefanski talk like that. Audio courtesy, video courtesy to the Bark Tank podcast. Thoughts and reactions on that, my man?
I love it. I love it because so many times you hear about can this player fit in this coach's system? Can this player, can this lineman, can this linebacker, whatever the case may be, right? And one thing I love, 2 words, evolution and adapting, right? Evolution and adapting. And when times change, when you're offensive coordinator, he mentioned everything's going to change. Within 5 years, so much is going to change. How they call how the referees call the game, how offenses adapt and change, and what type of players coming in every single year. And when you hear that, that makes me excited. A couple of reasons. One, if you're a good coach, you're going to find what your players do well and do that, period. What do they do well? What does your offensive line do well? Do they block the power scheme well? Do they block mid-zone well? Do they block outside zone well? What do they do well? And let's find ways to do that. And then as you're doing that and you're mastering that, then you can continue to teach and develop the things they don't do so well so that you can have a counter to what teams, once they figure out what you do well, you have a counter to it, right? Mm-hmm. So I love hearing that. I also love hearing the cohesiveness. You talked about Mike, he talked about Tommy, like he talked about himself, like all coming together and working on how can we make this the 2025 offense of the Cleveland Browns? Like, how can we make this special? What do we do well? What can we do? How can we adapt? How can we add some things we didn't do before, we didn't do in the past? And to me, this is the most vulnerable or like into his head that we've been able to have from Kevin Stefanski. Talking about this openly, talking about the offense. Like, he's going to be able to change some things. Of course, he likes some things a certain way. It's like Mike likes things a certain way. It's like Tommy probably likes things a certain way. But they're going to work together to create something we haven't always seen with Kevin Stefanski. So for me, I love what I heard, and I'm excited about what they're going to do when it comes to the draft, when it comes to this whole offseason, because it's really going to be tailored to what they talk about now, because now is the time where the coaches sit together and really pick out what they want to do and how they want it to look and different ideas they have with the players they got in the room, and then with the draft and the free agents with the players that will be in the room.
I'm not over-exaggerating when I say this, but to me, it sounds like this is the first time I can remember that Kevin Stefanski sounds like the man in charge. Ooh. That Kevin Stefanski sounds like the head coach of this football team. This don't sound like Kevin Stefanski in the past. It don't sound like, you know, he's tiptoeing around certain things. It sounds like he's the guy that has more control than he's ever had before. And I'll tell you a little something off the air that I heard last night about Kevin Stefanski. And just hearing that, it kind of confirmed that, right? This is a dude who is willing to be open-minded and willing to be innovative. And I think in our last episode of the Ultimate 216 show, what did we talk about? We talked about the Kevin Stefanski offense, right? And how it was adopted from Gary Kubiak, and how that system was adopted from Mike Shanahan, and how that system overall is just as old as you and I. And you look at the athletes and how the athletes have evolved from the time that you've played in the NFL until now, right? So when you think about how the athletes are forever evolving, how the game is forever evolving, how most of the rules are tailored towards the offense, and you just alluded to due to injuries and other things, concussions and other things, how the game is officiated is even different. And so when you got a guy like Tommy Rees, who's 32 years old, right, who played at Notre Dame, who's been around the collegiate game, right, very familiar with the collegiate game, I think he brings in fresh ideas, and he can help Kevin Stefanski in ways that Kevin Stefanski can't help himself, right? You only know but so much. Kevin been here in the NFL for God knows how long now. He's been the head coach of this football team. This be his 5th year. And so when you look at that, he ain't really got time to be always hyper focused on what's going on over there. I think it was a reason, why he kept Tommy Rees in the building, right? I think a lot of people around the NFL started to look at Rees as this evolving NFL offensive mind, and he didn't want to lose that. And you can't blame the head coach for not wanting to lose that. And so to hear the inclusion with him, Bloom, and Stefanski, and how they're going to go about things, it is exciting. But, for us and the fans, and I'm interested to see some of the comments, we think we have an idea, or we had an idea anyway, of what Kevin Stefanski's offense looked like, right? 2 tight ends, play action, and, heavy run game. And we've based everything that we said about free agency and the draft based on what Kevin Stefanski's offense used to look like. Now, a lot of people was trying to marry Kirk Cousins to the Browns, remember, because he's Stefanski's guy. Is it safe to say, man, we really don't know what's what now? Because he just literally told you, we're focused on the 2025 Cleveland Browns offense. We ain't focused on what we did prior to Ken Dorsey's arrival. This is about to be totally different. So knowing that, we can't even safely say that Cousins is a guy because he's familiar with Stefanski in Minnesota. Well, Stefanski just told you, I ain't really focused on doing what I did in Minnesota no more. It's harder for me anyway to assess, okay, well, which direction are the Cleveland Browns trying to go at quarterback? Which direction are the Cleveland Browns trying to go at this position? Because based on that conversation, we don't even know what it's going to look like. We just know it's going to be different.
It's going to be different. I think it brings a sense of confidence for me from a fan perspective. It's like what he's done in the past, he's not stuck in it. He's willing to try new things. He's willing. I'm going to say this, and you mentioned it. This is a bold Kevin Stefanski. This is somebody we haven't seen before. You said this is the first time I've seen him feel like he's actually the head coach and calling the shots. This is a bold Kevin. Like, he's like, hey, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out swinging. I'm going to go out doing it my way. I'm going to go out doing things on the offensive side of the football that I think we should do. And I'm going to bring in other guys that can help me get there, right? Because he mentioned the game is evolving. It's about adapting to what's going on. And to me, I'll be honest with you, that tells me one thing. They're open, very open to the quarterbacks at number 2. And it may not be the top 2 guys that we talked about. It may be somebody else. It may be a quarterback at number 2, maybe a quarterback at 33, maybe a quarterback later on. I think they're very open to bringing in a guy. If you look at a Shador or a Cam, they're very open to that. But also bringing in a possible guy like Jalen Milroe, a possible guy like a Jackson Dart, a possible guy that can come in and compete and have a certain I think Tommy is there because he knows the college game and he knows what they're doing at that level. And he knows you've seen a lot more of the college game in the NFL. So if we do draft one of these guys, how can we put the guys I just mentioned, how can we put those guys in the best situation, as Kevin said in his interview, to succeed? How can we make that happen for these guys, right? Because you got to be innovative. Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, how many times have they been under center? Like, you know what I mean? In the old Stefanski offense, you got to be under center. You got to be here, boom, get it, play action off of that. You got to be able to, you know what I mean? How often have they been?
Let me ask you a question. Let me stop you right there and ask you a question. Because you're closer to it than I am. But when you look at the game now, right, and you talk about quarterbacks that don't play under center, how many of these new age quarterbacks actually come from a system that is under center? Just off the top of your head.
If I had to give a percent, that play under center consistently, probably under 20%. I mean, you got to think about it. All the 707s that's out there, they're in the shotgun, they're back there, they're throwing. Like these guys are playing at a young age, and they want to be able to see the field. And it's all about passing and spreading out and going horizontal and vertical. So I think it's under 20% that actually play. I coach high school ball. Like literally, you don't see many teams under center. Like out of the 15 games we played, 14 games we played this year, maybe one team off the top of my head was under center, and that's at the high school level. So go to the college. Look what you see in the college level. It's not many times you see those guys under center. They're in the shotgun. So it's just a different type of feel. And I'm not a firm, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with being under center or being in the shotgun. That's just what you want to do, how you want to go about your offense, and it's really structured on what that quarterback can or can't do. But it's just a different type of feel. Now, I love that because now you got Tommy, the younger side of things, right? You got Stefanski, who wants to still do his thing, right? So now you can mix that, and then you got Mike, who wants to run the football. He wants to tote that rock, which is what Kevin likes to do. And understandingly, you have to run the ball to be able to win football games, right? So I think it's a good mix right now, and I'm with you. It's going to be innovative. It's going to be different. I think they're going to be very open-minded. But the bold Kevin Stefanski, the bold Kevin is what I like. Was what I like so far this offseason.
He definitely echoed what Tommy Rees said in his opening presser about, we want to design an offense that caters to everyone, and running the football can't get lost. I mean, just look at the NFL this year, right? Like Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, and you just look at the teams that's still alive in the playoffs right now.
Buffalo, James Cook.
Buffalo, like you have to be able to run the football, and if you can't run the football, you're really not getting too far. I thought it was eye-opening, and it makes sense now. How did the offseason prior, we seen running backs get paid at a rate that they hadn't gotten paid at over the last 5 or 6 years. And then you see the results of how this season played out. You know what I mean? It was much more balanced than what we had seen in the NFL the last couple of years. And I think, as times change, that pendulum swings back and forth from times. And you're starting to see the run game become more of a staple in the NFL offense. And this year at least, and I think it's going to be the same next year. It wasn't like that 2 or 3 seasons ago. It's almost like the running backs are back.
Yep. And I think a critical part, and again, I'm thinking about Tommy, who's 32. I'm thinking about Mike, who has tons of experience as an offensive line coach at Stanford, at Rice, or wherever he wants to be, head coach at Rice. And he wants to run the football. But you marry those guys because you look at the guys playing today. The Redskins, yes, you got Brian, I forgot
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson Jr., you got Austin Eckler. But a part of that big running game is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it is.
Right? A part of that run game is Jaden Daniels. So they run the ball extremely well. You can say, oh, no, think about that running game as a whole. Those three as a whole with three-headed monster. That's creativity. When you look at the Eagles, you got Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. Like, think about that. Jalen Hurts is a part of that running game. When you think about the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, James Cook, this Ty Johnson, whoever else came in for Buffalo when guys were down, they ran the ball as a collective, right? So you have to be, yes, you have to run the football. And if you have a mobile guy, he has to be involved with the running game. The run game doesn't change. It may look different. You're still going to run the zones, the powers, the counters, all that stuff. It just may look different to the defense, and different guys are going to be toting the rock. So the run game is going to be extremely important.
I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. I'm excited to see what the Cleveland Browns are going to do in the draft. Real quick, man, before we close the show, get to our last topic of the day. Don't forget, I've seen some comments already. Drop your favorite Kobe memories. Just as a fan, Kobe got his own fan base, kind of like LeBron and Michael Jordan. So, like, if you just got some Kobe memories, or you just remember what you was doing on this day 5 years ago, just drop that in the chat. And we'll dedicate the last 10 minutes of this show to Kobe Bryant. Before we get to that point, Shedeur Sanders met with the Cleveland Browns yesterday, which is standard, East-West Shrine game. Didn't practice, won't play in that game. He also met with the Giants, and he also met with the Tennessee Titans. One caveat to all of that, his daddy was present for the FaceTime call with him and the Tennessee Titans. So, just to throw something in there a little bit, but, Shedeur has been the topic of conversation on this show a lot, other programs a lot. Fans are indifferent, if they want to take a flyer on him, Cam Ward. A lot of people I ain't gonna say a lot, but maybe at this current time, what's sticking out most to me is the people who want to trade back from number 2 and draft a guy like Abdul Carter or Mason Graham or Will Campbell at left tackle. And I don't think that's a bad idea, right? I can't knock anybody for any idea that they have during this silly season. And it's not like it's outlandish. But to me, I have a hard time getting with this concept of you need to trade back. Like, even if it's not one of the quarterbacks that you like, right, at 2, then you need to trust your scouts. You need to trust your gut. You need to trust your own abilities to pick a player and pick the best available player that you truly believe in. To me, it's coming off like people want to trade back out of fear because they have no trust in Andrew Berry, because they have no trust in the Cleveland Browns organization to get it right or to develop, that they might feel like, okay, yeah, you got 11 picks, but you know what? Turn that 11 into 15, and maybe it'll increase your chances on actually hitting in the draft. And so if that is the thought process from some fans, I can get with that a little bit, but come on, man, we're not going to put 15 rookies on this roster. And even if you took some of those picks and you traded them and turned those into 2026 draft picks, because the consensus is Arch Manning and others is a much better quarterback class than this one, a lot can change in 12 months, right? A lot can change in 12 months. That might not be the tone. You know, nobody expected Quinn Ewers to come out and have to second guess on whether he should come out and go back to school or not. At the top of the year, Quinn Ewers' name was at the very top of everybody's mock draft of being a top 5 quarterback. That ain't about to happen. That's not about to be the case. And so just because it starts off one way doesn't necessarily mean it's going to end that way. Even if it's not one of the quarterbacks, bro, I just feel like the Browns should trust their instincts, man. Trust their scouting and just draft somebody right then and there.
You know what? I think this might be the biggest draft for Andrew Berry. Like the biggest draft for him. He has to hit. Like this is critical. If you draft a quarterback at 2, you gotta hit. If you draft Abdul or whoever else at 2, you gotta hit. Travis Hunter, you gotta hit. Like there is no, like he has to be an impact player. This is my thing. When you draft a guy at 2, he got to impact you this year. There is no down the line. He has to make an impact now, period. Like you have to find that guy at 2. And I think you're right. It's a cop-out because the fans and people don't feel confident in Berry and company because of how many guys has he really hit on in the draft already. You know what I mean? So I think when you do trade back, you can possibly get more picks, but that doesn't mean he's going to hit. And that means possibly you're giving up on a really good player at 2 or a really good player at whatever. You know what I mean? I'm with you, Earl. At 2, you need to make a decision, period. Make a decision at 2. If it's a quarterback, go with him. If it's a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, whoever it is, go with him. Now, I'm not against maybe going back 1 pick or 2 pick, right? Say you're not holding the quarterback and you trade with somebody from 2 to 4 or 2 to 3, right? 2 to 5. I'm not disagreeing with that because I feel like you can still, it's probably gonna be quarterback heavy around the draft time. 1 and 2 possibly could go, especially if Tennessee doesn't go quarterback. You're in prime position. Somebody could trade up right there, and maybe 1 slot, right? It may be just from 2 to 3. You can get a lot from that and still get a Abdul, or still get a Travis, and still get whoever. But as far as just the overall concept, I'm with you, man. Stay at 2. Be confident in what you're doing, and you better hit. Because if you don't, you're in trouble.
It's 12 p.m. on the 26th. Daniel Jeremiah published this mock draft January 25th at 8:59 a.m. So this is yesterday at 9 a.m. I'll give you the top 5. Guess who goes number 1? The chat about to go crazy. The chat about to go crazy when I say this. This is NFL.com, Daniel Jeremiah. This is his latest mock draft. Guess who's going number 1?
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter is the number 1 overall pick of the NFL draft.
It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts.
All right. So look. So because we was about to move,
nuts.
We was about to move on. So everybody that's watching, everybody in the chat, talk to us, right? What the hell do you do if Abdul Carter goes number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans?
It's gonna be crazy. Now, if you love Shador or Cam, if you love a quarterback, you take them. Like you just take them. There's no thoughts about it. If you don't, and somebody like the Raiders want to move up, somebody like the Giants want to move up, like you're still with the Raiders. What's the Raiders pick 6?
Raiders is 6. All right, so look at 2.
Giants at 3.
Giants at 3. New England is at 4. Jacksonville is at 5. And the Raiders is at 6, right? So let's go just through 2 through 6 right here, right now, right? Abdul Carter is off the board. You got Shedeur Sanders, you got Cam Ward, and you got Travis Hunter right there on the board. And for giggles and you know what, we can throw in Will Campbell and Mason Graham. What you doing?
I have to draft one.
You got to draft one, but you sitting there with both quarterbacks, right? Let's say the Giants really want Shedeur, right? The Giants really want Shedeur. And you got Vegas on the phone. Vegas wants Shedeur too. So now you sitting, okay, now I'm about to talk with my foot in my mouth. Because now if the Giants are sitting there at 3 and they want Shedeur, and I'm at you and I said, well, look,
leverage.
I got Vegas on the line. I got Pete Carroll. I got a brand new head coach, Pete Carroll on the line. Pete Carroll say, hey, I want Shedeur too.
Yep.
And I really got, and I'm cool with Cam. I'm Kevin Stefanski. I'm cool with either one of these cats, right? I could take Cam or I could take whatever. I could take Cam or I could take Travis Hunter at 3, right? And I fleeced the Giants, so to speak, right? Okay, give me your number 1 next year and your number 2 next year, and I need your number 2 this year. Right? See, with Abdul Carter off the board, all of a sudden, somebody else just said it. Trade out and fleece the Giants.
Like you're changing things.
Yeah, I can't go to
the Giants are needy. The Giants are needy.
Can we all agree though?
That GM gonna give you this year's first, next year's first, and two like you could really do some damage, and you only move it down a pick.
All right, so can we agree? I don't know if I can go down to 6 because if I go down to 6, I'm not getting Travis Hunter. Abdul Carter's already off the board. If I go down to 6, I ain't getting Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, or Shedeur Sanders.
Wait. Because no, you're right. Because the Patriots got a quarterback. Jacksonville got a quarterback. They will be willing to trade.
Right. Jacksonville might trade Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Mason Graham might go to
3.
So it's got so in that scenario, you trade down no further than 3. Right?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, yep. Got you.
But you can't because now if you go down to 6, everybody in the city pissed. Now you ain't got Abdul Carter. Now you ain't got Cam Ward. Now you ain't got Travis. And you ain't
Mason.
got Sanders. And now you might have to go to fan base on Will Campbell or Mason Graham at 6. And you gonna watch people lose their damn mind left and right in the city of Cleveland. Watch.
No, I think you're right. It's gonna be an uproar, and they better have a plan. Like they better have a plan. If they take anybody but a quarterback at 1,
bro, I cannot imagine.
I
did not expect as you was talking and I hit the Google, I didn't expect to see that, man.
Better have a plan.
If that happens, bro, that throws a wrench in everybody's operation. Man, y'all let us know what y'all think of that segment. Should the Cleveland Browns stay put at number 2 and draft who they believe is the best player? Should they trade down? Based on NFL.com, Daniel Jeremiah. This mock draft was dropped on the 25th of January at 9 a.m. It has the Tennessee Titans taking Abdul Carter, number 1. And just for the record, number 2, it has the Cleveland Browns taking Travis Hunter. Number 3, Cam Ward to the Giants. It has number 4, Will Campbell to the Patriots. Number 5, Mason Graham to the Jaguars. Number 6, the Las Vegas Raiders land Shedeur Sanders. So
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this from our conversation alone, right? And just watching the landscape of the NFL. And I was just talking about who's playing today, what quarterbacks are playing today, right? You think about Josh Allen. You think about Jaden Daniels. You think about a Jalen Hurts, right? And Patrick Mahomes is on a different scale. But when you think about those guys, they're mobile. And they're able to be effective in the run game, right? Call me crazy. And I know it's been a lot of talk about Jalen Milroe, Just hear me out. Just hear me out. Just hear me out.
Anytime somebody start a conversation with you and just hear me out, man, they about to say something crazy out their mouth.
Just hear me out.
What,
if you
man?
go best player at 2, right? Travis Hunter, whoever that is, best player at 2, and then later in the draft, you could get a Milroe in the 2nd or 3rd round. Probably second round, not third. I don't think it goes third. But if you can get a guy like him who is incredible with his feet and is not that far off of learning how to be a passer, and you can develop him, I think you got something.
All right.
I truly do.
Okay, that ain't too crazy. I'll say this though. I'll say this. You take best player available at 2, right? And this is me being unstubborn on the quarterback. This is me being creative, right? You go best player available at 2. I got one better for you because you got 2 threes. Let me use that 3rd and my 2nd to get to the bottom of the 1st and then take Jalen Milroe. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if Milroe is good, you're going to need that 5th-year option.
You're going to need the 5th-year option.
You're going to need that 5th-year option if he's good. And
who did that? No, who did that?
Baltimore. Baltimore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
If that situation that you take best player available and you're getting down to, let's say we down here around 24, right? 23, 24. Maybe 26, right? Because if Stafford retires, then they might take a quarterback. But if you right there at 26 and you like, okay, I need to go get me one, and you package something, you get back up in that 1st round, and this is with everybody doing their due diligence, believing, okay, I can rock with Jalen Milroe. Tommy Rees say, look, I got the best out of Jalen Milroe when I was with him, so I could possibly do it. I mean, you look at 2023 with Tommy Rees in the folds compared to 2024 last season when he wasn't. The numbers is right there. And this is the dude that's heavily involved in the running game, as you alluded to, right? So 32 touchdowns in the last 2 years, over 1,200 yards rushing, like that's crazy. And so for me, if you're gonna make that type of move, I think it's got to be a situation to where you got to trade back up and get yourself that 5th-year option. See what you started, Lamar 2.0. Here we go. Here we go. Milroe is not going in the 2nd round. He's going in the 1st. Grass and Bass, man. Shout out to him. Hey, bro, I don't know if you realize this dude comments and he watches every single episode. Even if he don't agree with us, bro, he be in here. He be respectful, man. Shout out to you, bro. Like, listen.
Much love.
Milroe is going in the 1st round. He is. Like, teams need quarterbacks, and people not sitting around waiting on that, man. So I don't know. Do you trade up? Do you stay put? For the longest, right? For the longest, we ain't know what we gonna do, man. But y'all drop what y'all think in the chat, man. Y'all let us know, and we'll respond to that. Don't forget, man, watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, flagship show, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And don't forget to catch Overtime. Don't forget to catch all the spinoff shows, the Ultimate 216, the Ultimate Cavs, the Ultimate Buckeyes, the Ultimate Browns, the Ultimate Guardians. Yo, it's the 26th. Can't believe pitchers and catchers are about to report already. It's almost baseball season. Yo, man, I hate to end the show like this, man, but we got to pay homage. Hey, first of all, 2/8/2024 was the very first episode of the Ultimate 216 show. And as we all know, that's the day that's dedicated to Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gianna Bryant. And 5 years ago today, in the most horrific, tragic fashion, we lost a childhood icon. We lost a childhood hero. We lost somebody that you and I, for damn sure, grew up watching. We watched his entire career. And the fashion that we lost such a great dude in Kobe Bryant, man, it sent shockwaves. Like, I remember being at the house, I was playing a game of Madden, and I remember seeing the reports come through on my phone, and I remember thinking it was unreal. I remember thinking, like, team paparazzi, whatever the case may be, like, now y'all trying to kill Kobe, y'all crazy. Yeah. And I just remember starting seeing the reports flood in that he had died in a helicopter crash. And I just started hearing more reports, like some of them was false about his whole family being there. But then I heard like his daughter was with him. And then you just heard like how it was a tragedy for everybody that was involved, man. And I just wanted to spend a few moments today, just kind of talking about Kobe Bryant and kind of having the fans chime in on what some of their favorite memories is of Kobe as a player and just what type of mantras that they have, etc. Just the 81-point game stands out, or Kobe not flinching versus Orlando versus Matt Barnes. That stands out a lot. Or Kobe on the sideline, soft. Soft. It's certain things like that about Kobe that always stood out to me. That was my little brother's favorite player. And like I remember we used to go back and forth all the time about Kobe, LeBron, things of that nature. But as I grew into a man and just really tried to grow up and be a grown man, not just chronologically, bro, but like a maturation spiritually, etc. Like Kobe's Mamba's mentality is really a staple in how I try to conduct myself, bro, and how I try to live and how I try to go about things, man. Just understanding that you're gonna always be up against it. Like nothing is gonna come to you easy. It's gonna take a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of sacrifice, or what you doing what other people are not watching, or what you doing what other people are sleeping, right? And just constantly betting on yourself when everybody around you can't see your vision. It's things like that about Kobe Bryant that as I got older, I started to respect. It's almost like I have more respect for Kobe the man, like than I did the player, and he was a hell of a player.
Man, I was very fortunate to attend his last ever NBA game.
Mm.
Um, and I was always had respect for Kobe. Never was, I was LeBron guy. Like LeBron's the best ever to do it, boom, boom, boom. So I would argue just like you. I'm like, oh, I got LeBron, they got Kobe, boom, boom. But to see Kobe, we literally watched him grow up, like literally in front of our eyes, Earl. Like from getting into silly mistakes to being this ultimate warrior to being the loving husband, the awesome girl dad father. Like it was cool to watch his maturity. It was cool to watch him grow up, and it was inspiring. Like, yo, I got daughters myself. Like, all right, cool. Like, let me go out my way to make sure I'm loving on them and bringing them with me and showing them all the experiences and whatever the case may be. But going to his last game, Earl, I forgot why I was in LA. I was in LA, I think, training in the off season, and I had a chance to go to his last game. Paid too much money to go, but it was worth it. it was like 10 racks to go to the game, right? Sat like 15 rows up. And when I mean it was a playoff / NBA finals type of atmosphere, we stood the entire game. We stood up the entire game. They're playing the Utah Jazz. They're not going to the playoffs. Both teams are sorry. And it felt everybody and their mama was there. Everybody and their mama was there. And they was feeding him the ball, and his focus, his intentionality. They were just trying to get him the ball. And it was just so fun to see him go out the way he went out, like a Kobe Bryant. But also to piggyback on what you were saying, his work ethic, the stories about him inviting guys to the gym to work out. Hey, I want to go come work out with you. All right, cool. Meet me there at 5. And then he's been there for 2 hours already.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff is motivating. It's inspiring. It's like if Kobe Bryant is doing that and he's at the best, and he's the best of the best, one of the best to ever play the game, whatever I'm doing, I need to be doing the same. That's that mama mentality. I have to be able to outwork. I have to be able to compete in every single lane I'm in to be the best I could be. And that just stood out to me, man. So I love Kobe Bryant. Much respect to him and his wife. I love how his wife is still honoring his legacy, whether it's with shoes, whether it's with community events, whether just talking about him. She has really been a part of his life and watched him grow up as well. So for her and her family, the Bryant family, man, it's nothing but love and respect to one of the best to ever play on the NBA.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I was putting this montage together that we were watching together and just going through the pages. And I said, okay, just looking for pictures. I took Kobe, it was like 403 pages. And I go to page 100. And I don't know, maybe it was meant to be this way because the pictures you just saw was the pictures of, him playing in Cleveland. And so it was that right there was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I remember being at the Cavs' first home game after Kobe had passed away. We were playing against the New Orleans Pelicans, and Zion, I think, was a rookie and things like that. And just walking to the arena and seeing outside of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse and purple and gold. We all know Tower City, and shout out to whoever run Terminal Tower, man. They had that lit up in purple and gold, and just the montage and how the Cleveland Cavaliers memorialized Kobe Bryant. It was very, very special. And funny moment, man. True story. Right. So we all play video games. We all play 2K. I remember you create your ball player, you go buy your gear and all this other stuff, right? So everybody used to always have the throwbacks, and you go in the park and everybody's mob player got on Kobe Bryant gear, Lakers gear, you know, and you could put the different emotes on for your player to do different things. And they had the Kobe emote, and you had everybody just walking across the court doing this. People weren't even playing the games. It was just like, even on the video game players felt like it was necessary to pay homage to Kobe Bryant. So, man, any closing thoughts you got on today's episode? Any good words you want to get to people before we get out of here?
Man, just thinking about Kobe, man. You never know what day is your last. You never know when. You know, people say all the time, "Oh, you're still young." You don't know when your time to go. So make an impact where you are. Make an impact now. Don't wait until next week or when you get older or whatever the case may be. And it's never too late either. You might be living till you're 100 years old. Make an impact. Be kind. Be courteous. Impact somebody today, because you never know when your time is up. Just think about Kobe, man. He was a tremendous role model, in my opinion, because we saw him literally grow up from 17 years old, being in the spotlight, to an awesome adult man and husband and father. So you never know who you're impacting. You never know who's watching, but you can make an impact today.
Yo, and that's the final word, man, from me and Cecil. We love y'all. Thank y'all for y'all support. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back with y'all Tuesday. We'll come up with some more fire content. Until then, man, make sure you be great and spread love. Remember, being great come with a price, and spreading love is priceless. We out. Peace.